I've been using a Stream Deck for a very long time, and I've used it on my laptop computers. I've used it on my desktop computers. And down here in the studio, the Geek Studio has always got a Stream Deck nearby. Well, the other morning I came downstairs after doing a very long live stream, and I tried to turn on my computer over there, the main desktop, and it decided not to turn on. Well, you know, it's not a big problem, but it was a little bit of a setback. And of course, $1,200 in buying a new motherboard, processor, and memory. That's beside the point. The whole thing is that I could continue on and do my projects using this Zbook Fury G1611 that I've been reviewing, testing, and a lot more. But the one thing is that I did not have the Stream Deck software set up. I did not have a Stream Deck profile on there. In fact, if we go over to my Stream Deck, there it is right there, completely blank. No buttons, no nothing, which really kind of sucks. So my plan is to actually set up my Stream Deck so I can use it for the Zbook Fury. Now, I have the 15-button Stream Deck set up for this thing, but I want the 32-button Stream Deck set up to this thing. And I'm going to do that, and I'll show you how I do it, because I do it in a hybrid way. A lot of people have been asking how this hybrid way works, and we're going to do that next on Geekazine. What's up, my geeks? Jeffrey Powers here from Geekazine. Think magazine, put in a geek. You got me. So, like I said, Stream Deck, big thing. I have not only the Stream Deck 32, I don't have the dials, I don't have the other ones. I just have the 15 and the 32. They work perfect. Plus, I also have the Stream Deck iPhone app. That works wonders. The best part about the Stream Deck iPhone app, I have some automation that I do on a monthly basis, and I have that set up on a Stream Deck Mobile, which goes to what's called a headless computer. That headless computer sits over there, no monitor, no mouse, no keyboard, so I can't really type or do anything. It doesn't even have a Stream Deck attached to it most of the time. So I use the Stream Deck Mobile when I need to do the automated tasks, and they're set there with their own batch files attached to it, and then when it's ready to go, I remote desktop into this computer, and then I run the Stream Deck software on the phone, and then when I need to do the automation, I hit a button and it does that. And that's what's really cool. So Stream Deck software is on all of my computers because I might need it in some way, shape, or form, whether it be using it for the physical Stream Deck or using it for my mobile Stream Deck. And I don't have a Stream Deck set up here right now, so you can't really see that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the hybrid method, so you can actually do that for your Stream Deck. Now, keep in mind this is for the physical hardware. If you use the emulator off of Companion, which is part of what we're going to be doing here, is setting up Companion, setting up Stream Deck. If you're just using the emulator from here, you won't be able to do this hybrid setup. We'll set up pages and folders and everything, so you got everything at your fingertips. Because keep in mind, this thing, even though there's 32 buttons in this thing can do a lot more than 32. In fact, if you set up 10 pages of 32 buttons, you've now got 320 buttons. Technically, you have to take out 2 buttons that are dedicated to the page left and the page right. The whole point is that we can make more than 32 buttons off of this thing easy and stay in a hybrid situation. Now, what I'm going to put on here is 2 parts. The first part on the Stream Deck side is going to be all the buttons that I use for my vMix, which is the software I use to mix. I'm recording right now, so I'll need those buttons to switch between these cameras. In fact, right now you see me looking over here, and that's because I physically have to move the mouse and find the spot. So when I do the switch like this, I've got to find it first, and then I'll switch. By doing this, I'll be able to hold the buttons down and do the switch without me having to look away from the camera. So I really am missing that part of this whole process right here. So that's how we're going to get started. And let's get started by simply going over and checking out our Stream Deck software. So we'll bring the Stream Deck software up here. This is the 2 pieces of software. The first piece of software is Stream Deck, which is Elgato software. And of course, I use that all the time. The second piece of software, like I said, is the Bitfocus Companion. And this is what the Companion looks like. You do have to do a little bit of configuration, but there's other videos that explain how to set up a Stream Deck. For this process, though, you need to make sure that when you do set it up, There's one radio button that says use only the Bitfocus Companion software, and then there's a button that says you'll need to have the Stream Deck software on as well. If you have this set up that way, then you can do this. We're using it in a hybrid, so you need to have the ability to go back and forth between Stream Deck and the Companion software. So, all right. First of all, we've got our 32 buttons. This is what we need to load. Well, a lot of this stuff is already loaded. The multi-action we need, the navigation we might need. But for what I'm doing, I'm also going to need vMix installed and Companion. Both of these are additional apps in the store that you can download and install. And once you install it, you're ready to go. And no problems here. Basically, how I'm going to split this up is really straightforward. The first left side set of buttons, that's going to be a Stream Deck. And I set it up like a 15-button Stream Deck. So 3 down and 5 across. That's going to be all Stream Deck stuff. The three across and 4 down is going to be a lot of my vMix stuff. And then I'll have a bottom row, which I can do a lot more with. Usually I keep that on the Stream Deck side rather than the Companion side. I've been doing this for a very long time. Back in my day, we didn't have pages on Stream Decks, and we loved it. We loved it. Loved. Anyway, by implementing the Pages option, now we can turn that 15-button Stream Deck, our Companion module, into a 32-button Companion module. And it's going to be very useful, not only for what I'm using on Companion, but also for what I need for vMix and keeping it all within eyeshot. Very important, so I can keep my eye on the camera. First of all, I'm going to set up 2 pages. So we've got 1 page here. We're just going to hit the plus button, and now we've got page 1 and we've got page 2. Notice how the pages are over here and here. I don't like that at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this button, I'm going to move it over here. It's basically a drag and drop, and then here. We're going to copy this button, and we're going to paste it, and then we're going to copy this button. Now we have 2 buttons. We can go through our pages. Page 1, page 2, page 1, page 2. We're back on page 1. This is going to be our hybrid page. So this is where I have my vMix on the right side and I have the Companion on the left side. On my computer, I also use Wirecast. You might also use OBS. So we would then create 2 other pages, one for Wirecast, one for OBS, so you can have the functionality of those programs as well as Companion. But for the most part, we're just going to stick with vMix just to keep it nice and neat and clean and everything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the shortcut for vMix, and all we're going to do is we're going to start filling up buttons here. Boom, 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 boom. And we're going to do 9 buttons. You might go all the way down, you might go all the way up. And the other thing is you could actually just and we could do another page here. So we could do a 3rd page, and that 3rd page could be nothing but vMix buttons. Simple as that. And of course, if you do create a new page, make sure that you have your pagination buttons copied. And you can just basically do that by copying and pasting, just like that. So that's always going to be my pagination buttons. Let's go back to the first one. There we go. So now I have 6 vMix buttons. They're not set to anything just yet. So if I press them, they do absolutely nothing. Let's make them work so I can stop looking over at this screen all the time. And I do that by going over to settings, and I go over settings and I go over to shortcuts. And this is going to be a little bit odd because of the screen size. The vMix, the fonts on the vMix is kind of big, so you don't see the whole thing. But the whole idea is I have some buttons set up, but that was for the old setup, and I've moved things around in my vMix, and I want to change that. So we're going to start by double-clicking on here. We're going to hit the Find button. We're going to choose our first button. There we go. And we're going to say OK. We've got the function of cut, and what I want for the number here is number 4, which is that primary screen, that first shot. So we'll go down here where it says thumbnail. There's some other stuff here that's kind of hidden because, like I said, the size of the screen and the font. Small little vMix bug right there, I would say. But the one thing I also want to do is I want to set it to thumbnail. Now, there's two functions I always do in vMix. One is cut and one is overlay, where like if I have a graphic like a lower third or anything like that, I'll use the overlay input 4. And basically what that'll do is when you push the button, it'll bring the lower third in. When you push the button the second time, lower third goes away. But in this case, we're just using cut. Now I have my first button set up. So check this out. There's the first button. Look, it's got my thumbnail. So if I wave, it's kind of hard to see, but it's there. It's a movable thumbnail. If I press this button in 3, 2, 1, boom, there we go. I've now just had the automation over here. Now I can switch over to this one. So I'm going to continue to do this. You're just going to watch me do that. All right, there we go. Got the second button. That is our desktop. Back and forth. So now I can flip back and forth. Awesome. So now we're going to put in the third one here. While we're waiting here, I don't know if you checked out the t-shirt, but this is a Geekazine original. I like geeky butts, and I cannot lie. It's part of the Geekazine line of shirts that include Guardian of the Geekery, 80s Jesus Saved Me, one floppy at a time. We got a couple of shirts with Geek AI, and then, of course, the Geekazine logo t-shirt, which is going to be coming out very soon. These are all going to be on the store. You can click either links below, or you can go over to amazon.com/shop/Geekazine. You'll see a merch section, and then you can press on there. As you can see, now we have the main shot, we have the over-the-shoulder shot, we have the screenshot, we have the over-the-shoulder and me split shot, and then the over-the-shoulder and screenshot. That's how I have that set up. So once again, we can continue on and make more buttons active. And this is all on the Stream Deck side. So if I shut down Stream Deck, these buttons will not work. And of course, I'll have to turn Stream Deck back on. Let's go ahead and get the second part going. And that's through Companion. Now, I have not set up my Companion properly because we only have a couple things set up. And the first one is our vMix, which we could use. I just like to do it this way. I find that it works a little bit better. We have our primary PTZ camera and our secondary PTZ camera, in which what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I got the right IP addresses for that. Now I have the primary and secondary set up for what we're doing right here. I noticed that I'm missing a button down on my Stream Deck, so let's go down here. Notice how the left button is not there. I thought I copied and pasted it, but I think it removes it. So if we go boom, boom, there we go. Now we're back. This is the primary screen. Let's go to the secondary screen. As you notice, there's nothing there. This is where we're going to start using our Companion side of things. So we'll go over to buttons. And as you can see, it's got a set of buttons here. And this is for the 15 button Stream Deck. Now what we need to do is we need to set up our Companion buttons. And that's simply just going here. Unfortunately, with Companion, notice how it's doing all up arrows. You have to go and set up all of Companion, all the buttons. And we could just copy and paste if that's the case. Copy, paste, 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 da-dee-da-dee-da. There's probably other ways to do this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to must have updated it. That's interesting, because normally it was a little drop down. You just go to 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. So this is brand new. So now we can go row 1, column 2. Oh, look at that. Oh, cheese and crackers. Oh, that's going to be a lot easier. So now we'll go row 2. And that's the best part about this is you can now change that. This would be row 0, column 1. 0 and 1. So new change to that. That's pretty cool. Just got to get used to it a little bit. So you can do dynamic page apparently, and you can do non-dynamic page, which means that I could have this button be anything off of my Stream Deck. I could technically have it be this button down here, which is great because then I could set this up for another page so I could have all my vMix buttons on the right side and then the controls that I need on the left side. So we'll continue this way. We're going to keep it on dynamic. This would then be row 1, 0, and there's our page. And then this would be row 2, 0, and that's our page down. So what I'm going to do really quick is paste it. Don't ask again. Replace. And then this one, 0, 1, 2, this would be 3. There we go. We have that all set up. Now I'm going to go 1. Just got to go through all of them, I guess. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. Now we'll go to 2, 3, 4, 6, and 3, 7. There we go. Okay. Oops, I missed one here. Now we have that all set up. So all the companion buttons are there on page 2. On page 3, we don't have that set up yet, so we'll just leave it at that. So page 1, now we need to do is and I'm going to do it this way. Can I do it this way? Nope. Copy, paste. I know that's going to be a lot of work. All right, here we go. So now we have that all set up. Now, it's actually could be easier on this because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the other companion buttons in here. Okay, I kind of confused myself because I thought the buttons disappeared all of a sudden when I did this. But the reality is there's nothing assigned to those buttons. So if we click there, we still got companions on those sides. And you can tell if a button's been filled. Notice how it's black right there. Whereas if it hasn't been, we'll have a gray area right here. Now, what we want to do is I'm hoping that there's a way that we can copy all these buttons over to 3. And I think we just need to delete the third page. What we'll do is we will right click and we will say copy. We'll add a new page and we'll say paste. Look at that. All those buttons just showed up. So that's pretty much the way to do it, is to set it up that way. I did it sort of the back end way because I wanted to show you how that worked. And then I don't know why 4 is there. Let's go ahead and delete that. Okay, perfect. So we just want 3 pages right now. So we got the main page that's got the vMix controls on there. Second page we're going to be expanding these companion. This is why I wanted to do it this way. But in all reality, we could have a third one where we could have, like I said, OBS or something like that, or all vMix buttons. We don't have to have companion buttons here. I noticed that the pagination button did not come over, so we just have to copy and paste that there. Boom. Now, and notice how that first one disappeared again. I think I'm going to be fighting that back and forth for some reason. So let's go ahead and put that back in. Okay. So now we have page 1, we have page 2, page 3. Page 2, this is where we're going to go over to our companion. Now you notice that it's already got buttons in here because this is how I had the 15 button Stream Deck on this thing working. So blue was always one camera and green was always the other camera. So this one's actually the over-the-shoulder camera. So now I have functionality to move both cameras. In this case, we have our preset positions. This is all the autofocus and shutter up. This was basically the controls, and then we had the zoom in, zoom out, everything that you could do in a 15 button Stream Deck. Pretty compact. So what we're going to do is, first of all, I'm going to export this one because I have a feeling I'm going to need that for the future. So I'm going to export the configuration, all the buttons, all the variables, compressed. We'll say download. There we go. Buttons. This is way easy to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe this whole thing because we're going to start from scratch. We're going to start on page 1. Page 1 is a very good place to start. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this camera and we will set up the PTZ controls for this camera. So let's go back here and we're going to do our primary camera. And when you set up Companion, basically you're starting the connections area, and then you can add all of your devices through here. Now I've got my 2 PTZ cameras that are set up here. So I don't need to go in here. We got that all set up. Configuration is going to depend on what you have for cameras, what you have for the software that you're using, all that other good stuff. So, all right. So now we're going to go in here and we're going to start with our primary camera. There we go. And they move the buttons around. Oh, it's confusing. Notice that it's blue. I like this. So I'm going to set up my PTZ camera. So when I need to move myself around, I can do that fairly easily. Now I do one little extra thing here on this, and I take this first button and I do the top bar and I just say, hey, hide that top bar. And then down on the bottom corner, I leave it at about 18. I'll just put the number of the PTZ camera. Oops, that's not 73, 43. So when I look at it, I can see that's exactly the camera I'm looking for. Because sometimes, even though I have it color coded, sometimes, you know, in the heat of the moment, you're just trying to remember where everything is. And this is a great addition to that. I like to color code it just one button, because you could spend all day just color coding every single button. I just don't want to do that. So anyway, so now we have our PTZ options. So if I go over here and I go up, I go down, I go left. Yeah, they work. Perfect. I'm not going to mess around with that too much because I know that they work. Right here, I'm going to change it to autofocus. We're going to skip the auto tracking stuff because I want to get as many buttons in here as possible. We're going to start with lens, I believe. Yeah, there we go. We got zoom in. We got zoom out. We got focus lock, unlock focus, and then autofocus. That's what I put in here. That's right. So zoom in, zoom out, focus near, focus far. That's it for that page. Next up, go for exposure. There we go. And we're going to choose exposure mode. And we're going to do iris up, iris down, shutter up, shutter down. If you use the Sony PTZ, you'll see different buttons. It really depends on the camera that you're using. The Bird Dog PTZ buttons are different as well, but I'm setting this up for PTZOptics for the most part. And of course, it's all dependent through the page. So if on page 2 I was using a different PTZ camera, I would be using their buttons. And you'll see that in a second here. So now we've got that. We're going to then go and we're going to go recall presets. And I'm going to do 3 presets. Now you got to skip these first 2 buttons down the bottom, but then I can put this right here and recall preset 2, recall preset 3. I have some extra buttons. This is going to be for my white balance auto, white balance 1 push. And I'm just going to leave these 2 blank. Perfect. So I'm going to flip down here and I'm going to go back right up here. We're good. If I go over here, there's our buttons. Go to page 2. Boom. Look at that. All of the buttons in a row. Perfect. Now, if we go back to page 1, notice that they're missing down here because we haven't copied them on here, which is actually fairly straightforward. I just copy, paste, copy, paste, copy. I don't even need to put the companion buttons down there. I could do some more Stream Deck buttons if I wanted to. There we go. So now we have that row and we go over to page 2 and there's all of our buttons. Page 3, all of our buttons again, because I haven't really set it up for anything else. So I could wipe this and start over, do something else. But this is good. These 2 pages are the most important right here, which give me the ability to do all my switching. And then if I need to do some adjustments or change the presets, I can do that as well, which we're not going to do because I don't know if I have this set up as a preset just yet. We've got the functionality for the first PTZ camera. Let's go ahead. We're going to minimize this. We're going to go back here. We're going to go to page 2. Now, unfortunately, you can't copy and paste because if you copy everything from page 1 to page 2, it's just going to be this same PTZ camera. So now we've got to go and we've got to go to the presets and choose secondary. You notice how it's blue, and that's fine. I'm going to put these all in first. And in this case, like I said, I like to color code things. I am going to change this and I'm going to set this to green. There we go. Plus, I'm also going to do everything I did before. 24, put it in the corner. And this one's, I call this 44. Now I have my control for the over-the-shoulder camera, this one right here. So if I go up, there's those settings. If I do this, I'm going up. If I do this, I'm going down. Easy peasy, beautiful. You get the idea. So with that, now I can press over here, and notice now I don't have to, I'm not looking over here anymore, because I can keep my fingers on the button and switch back and forth and know what I'm doing. I love that over the mouse. When the Stream Deck first came out, I just couldn't believe it, because my monitors were right here. I was always doing this, and I noticed that in my videos. And then when I got the Stream Deck was actually right here, and I was pushing buttons and I was going back and forth like that. And I was like, oh, wow. I didn't have to look away from the camera. This is so cool. All right, let's continue on from here. So we want to match the buttons. Let's go back over here, go back over to secondary, and we are going to lens once again.
2 minutes later.
There we go. And as you can see, there's the vMix side, but I do this, and now I've got full PTZ functionality. I'm on green, so I know I'm on my over-the-shoulder shot, so I can move up and I can move down. I can iris up and I can iris down. I can shutter up and shutter down, but I think I have those locked right now. I have the recall buttons. So recall preset 1, 2, 3, and of course we'll go back here because this wasn't actually set as a preset. So we'll go like this and zoom in a little bit, and now we're kind of back to where we were. So you see, fairly easy. And then of course I need to go back here so I can switch over here. So very few button moves and easy to do through this 32 button Stream Deck right here. And as you can see, I was able to just do that through here. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I want to do a save. I always separate the saves from the recalls, and the next page up, which is blank, is going to be all of my recalls. So I'll go back over primary, and we're going to do our recall presets. We're going to do 1, and this is how I like to do it because it says recall preset 1. It might be a little bit different for what you do, but I just end up going 1 like this, and then auto. And then it's easier to do it this way, I think. Copy 2, copy 3, copy 4. We're just going to do 4 for now. So, and it's all saying 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. So we'll go 2, and then we'll do preset number 2, and then we'll go over here and we will say preset number 3 and 3, and then over here 4 and 4. Just like with that, with the first one, I want to change the color. So we were on blues, and I think that was the, sometimes I miss the red, the blue. I think that's it. Yeah, there we go. So now my blues, I know that that's 43. And sometimes I will also do this. I'll do the first one saying 43-1. Now I know that that is 43. And I'll come down here. I'll go to the buttons. I'll go to the secondary. I'll go to the recall preset. And I'll have to do the same thing. And now they're all going to be green. And as I'm going to probably put some more PTZ cameras. I got 5 of them sitting around here. So I'm going to probably put some more in here. But for now, these are the primaries. That's all that matters. And then, of course, this first one, we're going to call that 44. Now I know that's the over-the-shoulder shot where the blue is the front end shot. Next page. This is the saves. So I'm going to go back to the primary. I'm going to go to the save preset. I'm going to go save preset 1. And of course, same thing. We're going to go background. We're going to change that to blue. We're going to say, in this one, we're going to say save /n for new line 44-1. And we're going to say the size is auto, because I want to make sure that I understand that this is going to be safe. Because there's been so many times that I hit the save for like preset 1. And then I'll just go move over to preset 2 and thinking that that's the recall. And then I've just completely wiped out my recall for the next one. Now we've got our save presets, and that's always going to be at the top of the list. That way I don't accidentally push the button, and I'm good to go. Now, I've got my hybrid system set up, which is great. Let's go ahead and 444, we're gonna zoom in just on the Stream Deck so you can see what's going on here. And we'll go over here and we'll say focus unlock. There we go. Bring this over and down a little bit and zoom in even more so you can see it. So now all of my buttons are set up for what I need them to do. There we go. There we go. So I just changed the exposure, and then now I can play with the shutter up and shutter down options, and you can see the buttons a little bit better. So the whole point is now we've got this set up. So there's nothing on page 99. Page 1, I've got all my PTZ options for the first camera. I've got my PTZ options for the second camera. I've got my preset positions for the first and the second camera. And I got my saves for the first and the second camera. And we're going to go ahead and I am going to relock 44 so you don't get a blur in, blur out. And now I'm going to go back over here, and there I have my vMix buttons, so I can take this and I can go like this and take out my face, bring it back in, and go over to the different screens. Easy peasy beautiful. So you get the idea. This is how I have my hybrid system set up. Can you set it up with vMix on Companion? Absolutely, there is a vMix option. The problem that I find, if you're on page 8 and you got the vMix buttons on page 1, then you're going click, 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 back to page 1. I like the idea that all of these buttons for my PTZ are sitting in one area. And I don't have, because I've had it with my 15 button Stream Deck where I had to split this up into 2 or 3 different companion pages, not Stream Deck pages. There's a difference. Stream Deck pages, companion pages, just to clarify that. So by doing this, I have a horizontal option. And then when I need to change my cameras, I have a vertical option. Does that make sense? Good. That's the way I like it too. I'd love it if Companion had a vertical and horizontal option. Maybe I would then ditch the Stream Deck software and go all Companion. It would also be great if I used Companion Satellite and then used it as a remote companion into whatever computer I'm setting up in. Because that would also be nice, because these things right here, this page right here with the PTZs, it doesn't matter what computer I'm on, it's still going to be pulling from the network, from the IP address. So if I took this Stream Deck off and put it on another computer and had this profile already set up, I could still control my PTZ cameras. But anyway, that's it. Using Companion, using the Stream Deck software, I've created myself a hybrid setup that I can use on this computer. Now, once again, you do have to plug the Stream Deck directly into the computer in question. Make sure you have enough USB ports, because now we're using this computer, and we'll go like this, and we'll go, boo. We're using this computer to do all the work. It's doing all the streaming. It's capturing this screen right here for this thing and doing the recording right here. Lots of work on here, but this is a great computer. I'll talk about it for a second. This is the Zbook Fury G1611, which is their latest and greatest Zbook high-end model, because you can put 12 terabytes worth of storage in here. You can bump it up to 128 gigabytes of RAM. So if I need something for a vMix computer and then turn around and actually I need something to edit the videos that I just recorded, I can go into DaVinci, I can go into Premiere Pro or whatever program I use and do the editing. I was taking it out to certain bands, and I was doing, it's basically, I call it a 4K fourplex. And what it is I take 4 1080p cameras and I would put them in quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. 4 is the most you can do. I tried 6, it didn't work too well. But the whole point is that I have 4 cameras running through the network. that would then come in. And if there was any glitches during the show, it would still be matched with the other 3. No need for a timestamp, which is really nice because a lot of these cameras don't have timestamp ability. But I can then have that as one video file, 4K, which this thing records perfect for. And then I can go back into an editor and I can split them up into 4 different files. And then I can do all my editing. So I don't have to be concerned about switching to camera 2, switching to camera 3. Could easily do that. I could set up another machine that's grabbing the video from here and then setting it up so it could actually do some switching that way. A great computer, a high-end computer that I use for a lot of my events that I have to do portable. Of course, the desktop is the workhorse. It's now going to be an Intel Core 9 14th generation with GDDR5 memory, with PCIe 5, and a lot more coming very, very soon. So I'm really excited about that. Enough about that. We've got everything here. We've got our Stream Deck now set up, so I can go in and I've got all the buttons set up. So now if I need to switch back and forth between the buttons, I can do so. Notice how I have my thumb set right on the corner there, which is kind of how I like to do that for this type of switching. But then when I need my PTZ options, I can make my PTZ changes. Whoops, that was preset 1. There we go. Like I said, I didn't know if it was set right. There we go. All right. Okay. How are you using your Stream Deck? Let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, bell notifications so you know all those angels get their wings, and you can also find out when my next video is coming out. Thanks a lot for listening. Thanks a lot for watching. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Until next time, you guys geek out and Stream Deck on or Companion on. One of the two. Do it. Just do it. Just do it. Geek out, folks.